Good to be here, everybody. I'm Tanya Salituro, founder of CanPrev Natural Health, and we are going to have some fun here tonight. It's a pretty relaxed but fun evening. It's going to be interactive. I'm actually broadcasting from my hobby farm where I live north of Toronto, and I dressed up for you, but if you want to be in your PJs, good for you. I just want to give a special shout out to our sponsor for this evening, our co-sponsor, Camiso's Fresh Foods in Niagara. They have been stellar at helping us get this all together and advertise it. And they're going to be having some specials in store, so we'll tell you more about that later. I guess I just want to start off with an icebreaker. But before I get to the icebreaker, I'm just going to delve into my story a little bit. Some of you have heard it before, but people are always saying to me, it's okay, tell it again. So why did I start CanPrev Natural Health? Well, when I was 19, I felt a hard pee under my nipple, and I was kind of told not to worry about it. I was too young for breast cancer, but a year later, it was diagnosed as breast cancer, and I thought I was fine for a while, although I had always been sickly and always low on energy and always having flus and colds. And then 11 years later, I was now married and a mother of 2 children, and I felt this stabbing pain in the same spot where I had had that initial lump. So my cancer was indeed back 11 years later. Even though I had refused chemotherapy and drugs, I had had radiation. So I could not have radiation the second time. I went for a lumpectomy. And then about 1.5 years later, I felt the pain again in that same spot. And it seemed that the tumor was back. My doctors didn't believe me. They thought, you know, it was in my head. It didn't show up on a mammogram. But 6 months later, when they said I could come back, I went back and said, give me a mastectomy. I can't stand this pain. I can't stand living with this breast anymore. And they actually did an MRI just before surgery, which showed I now had 2 tumors and the aggression had increased in the tumors. So I'm blessed to be here, and every day, of course, is a gift. I don't take anything for granted. Every day that my feet hit the floor, every day that I can send up a prayer, it's a blessing, and glad to be here with all of you. Thanks for giving us some of your time this evening. So our icebreaker question is a question I've been asking people a lot because I like to be positive. Given the pandemic, what are some of the good things, or what is the best thing that's come out of it for you? And on my last webinar, I said, ditching my bra. But this one, I guess I'll say something different. I learned how to cut my own hair, and I took the money and I invested in a really, really cozy pair of slippers. So that's 2 new things for me. So yeah, oh look, someone is writing in. Lorianne is saying self-care, more time with family, dogs rule. Okay, we gotta have some laughs tonight too. So before I turn it over, I'm just gonna give you a little background on our Dr. Elias Markou, and you're gonna have to give us your icebreaker answer as well, Elias.
I will.
So Dr. Elias Markou, he's on our National Advisory Board, and we really appreciate that. He is currently a practicing naturopathic doctor, so you can look him up and have some sessions with him if you like. He was actually a firefighter for 6 years, and he battled his own health issues at that time with battling the environmental toxins he had to deal with. And he has since become an expert in helping people with environmental toxins, but I know that he takes on all kinds of patients. And what I know about you, Elias, what I like about you is that you so want to see your patients improve, and you want it to be in a timely fashion. You don't want it to take a year. You do your best to have it, you know, weeks, months, to have those changes come quickly. So you're an awesome doctor, and thanks for giving us your time tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Tanya, thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be with this group tonight. We have a bunch of amazing people. Our participants are up to about 104 participants. I want to say hi to Judy Lavier. I want to say hi to Leanne. Trisha's on. We're so happy to have you guys all here today, and we're going to have fun. I really want you guys to sit back and relax and just enjoy kind of this educational entertainment webinar that we've put together for you. I really encourage, as we go through, you can ask some quick questions. If I'm able to kind of look over and grab them, I will answer them. We're also going to have questions at the end of our presentation. So I want it to be interactive. I want you to be part of our interaction tonight and learn something. If I teach you one thing tonight and you walk away feeling better and you implement it, then I've done my job here tonight. So I'm really excited to be your host tonight and looking forward to educating you on wellness. So CanPrev came.
Just a couple of things, sorry. I do recommend everyone make sure you have like a notepad and pen. I'll be taking notes. You're going to want to take notes. Things are going to come up, or just things mentioned that you're not going to want to forget. And also, I had a question for you. There's a picture of you I just saw holding a red drink.
Yes.
And I think it's a Bloody Mary.
You get the first prize, Tanya. That is a Bloody Mary. It's supposed to be a beet juice, but I couldn't hide the drink. It was a rough photo shoot.
I'm sure it went down smoothly.
So that's a beet juice we had brewed up for our photo shoot. It was amazing. It was actually delicious.
Okay.
So my icebreaker, I already typed it into the Zoom chat if you guys saw it. It was the traffic. Oh my God, for 6 months, the traffic was amazing. I was coming into work and I was coming here in like easy 8 minutes flat. Now it takes me 20 minutes. So traffic is my little thing for the pandemic, ghetto, for the pandemic time. So let's get into this. You all know the title is Eat, Sleep, Rest, Repeat, a woman's health overview. And I really, when I was putting this presentation together, I wanted to capture the 4 most important things that I want to share with everybody tonight when we're done this presentation. And I've seen close to 100,000 patient visits. I treat women, I treat men, I treat children. And in my entire practice, what I try to do tonight is I try to synthesize the most pressing questions, the most pressing topics that would make a woman's health ideal. So we're looking at eating. So we're going to break down the topic of eating. We're going to talk about sleep because I think sleep is underrated and appreciated. Rest is a big one. So we'll talk a little about adrenals in the rest period, and repeat. And what I mean by repeat is I'm going to teach you some regular habits you should have as we move forward when you begin to change your life. Listen, COVID has been difficult on all of us. Many of us have made our life very sedentary. We've been sitting down a lot. We haven't been choosing the best food. I know in our household, chips started to showing up in our little cupboard, opening the cupboard, there's chips and popcorn and this, and we know that those are all foods that are high in carbs and high in sugars, and sedentary life, high in sugar, weight gain. So if you're out there and use the little conversation panel there, if you've noticed a little bit of weight gain, the COVID-19 pounds, then, just stay there. And if it's something, and if you don't have to. We saw a little bit of weight gain, but we got back into the gym once the gym opened up and everything went back to normal. But, let's start thinking about these things that we need to do as we move forward. Because, it's a new year. September is a new year for all of us, moms and dads, and kids are back to school. And we want to start thinking about, what are we going to do for ourselves? So my name is Dr. Elias Markou. I am a naturopathic doctor in Mississauga. We run a multidisciplinary team here at Pure Balance. And I am in my office right now. I pushed my desk out. I turned on all the lights, and you're seeing me in my office right now. So I just finished seeing 22 patients. We run IVs and nutrition. And today I happen to have a lot of female hormone patients and fertility patients. So it was an interesting day.
Wow.
So let's keep
Wow.
this interactive.
22 patients. 22 in
Yeah, it was
22
a busy
in one
day.
day?
Yeah, it was a busy day. It was a busy
What
day.
did you have for dinner, or you forgot to eat dinner?
No, actually dinner was grilled chicken and string beans and some zucchini. So
Wow.
I kept it simple. I kept it clean today.
Awesome.
So let's get this interactive. I want to get you some in places in my presentation. I want you in that little chat box to give me your answer. And I want everybody to kind of like look back and see how we've been interacting during this presentation. So I think, Tanya, this is where you come in and you say, we're going to randomly pick a few winners.
Yeah. So if you've attended, I mean, if you just signed up and then went to sleep, if you've attended, there will be 3 prize packs given out tonight. So if you can stay for most or all, that would be really great. And I definitely don't go to sleep on us. Hang in there to the end, and we will be notifying you though if you have been one of the prize pack winners. And we'll probably, what we do is we send out your first name, not your whole name, so that everyone knows who actually won in the end.
I see Jen's excited. I see Leanne's excited. Bobby's excited. Natalie quickly said she's excited. So, hey, everybody, I think the odds here are better than winning the Lotto 649. I honestly believe. I think there's 100 of us and there's 3 prize packs. I think we can do it. Okay. So what I want to do is I really want you to just share your questions, share your comments. You know, if you're enjoying what we're doing here, please comment. You know, all of your input is really exciting for us. You know, and it could be something like, as we get closer to the Q&A near the end, I'll be more than happy to answer more specific questions, because I'll move away from my presentation and look into the chat box. But, you know, if you have questions about you can't sleep, you know, we just talked about weight loss, hormonal imbalances. I do a lot of hormonal imbalances with my patients. I think that's one of my big strengths. Thyroid, menopause, you know, anything, just put it in there and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Okay. So yes, I see Renata, anxiety from COVID. Woo, we can talk about that all day, but we might just share a little bit of it. So
yeah, and if I can just say, like, looking at that list, what I've heard the most in the last year is anxiety. Like, I hear it all for sure. I get people writing into me. I meet people when I'm on the tour, touring across Canada, visiting health food stores, and anxiety has been, you've got it last on the list, but I would say it's pretty much at the top of the list even before COVID hit. So you can imagine how bad it is, you know, as a health issue for Canadians right now during COVID.
For sure. I just saw about 4 chats go across the anxiety for sure. I totally agree. So we'll tackle that. And I think a lot of the stuff we'll talk about today will definitely address anxiety as it. So everyone has a story, and I want to share a story with you. And, you know, one day, if we're ever sitting in a live event, which we'll eventually probably host as a company, you know, you'll share a story with me. But today, because I'm the presenter, I'm going to share a quick story with you. And it goes kind of like this. In 1992, when I was in university, and, you know, in those years, you don't know what you're going to do and where you're going. In 1995, a couple of years of university, I said, you know, I got to get away. I got to go to travel the world and head over to Australia. And I went to Australia and visited my family there. I have family in Sydney. And I was fortunate to be there around the New Year. In the New Year, they do the Sydney Harbor fireworks. So my family says to me, hey, listen, we need to save a spot at the fireworks because there's thousands and thousands of people that converge into that area to see the Sydney fireworks. So can you go and save a spot? So they drove me there 7 o'clock in the morning to wait for midnight fireworks. And they said, they opened up a couple of blankets. They're like, you're going to stay right here. We will find you here. We will all navigate and come here and meet you around after work. So I was like, okay, you know, I set up my shop and I sat there. Next to me was this old Indian gentleman. And he had come from India. He's visiting his family. And unfortunately, he got the same job like I did, sit here and save this spot. And believe it or not, as the day went on, like my spot was like a 12 by 12 and then it became a 6 by 6. There's just so many people. So I started chatting this little Indian man up, and he says to me, you know, where were you here? I'm here from Canada. I'm a student. You know, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know, you know, what my destiny is. And he's like, well, back home, I'm a bit of a shaman, and I want to share something I feel about you. And he said, you know, what I really want you to really understand is the energy I get from you is, and I'm going to give you this information, very succinct and very simple. You need to live your best life ever. And I looked at him, and I was like I thought I was like, it was so profound. This man who did not know me, we're both here with our families trying to, you know, take on a very spiritual event, the new year. And he said to me, you know, I don't know much about you, but you need to live your best life ever. And since that time, in my mind, that's always been like resonating, you know, like this man who didn't even know me said in a compassionate way, live your best life ever. And for me, that was like the seed that began the process of me going into naturopathic medicine, helping my patients use natural medicine and very gentle medicine to heal their body. So the information I'm going to share today is I want you to collect all the information to live your best life ever. And what I've done today is I've whittled it down to like 4 basic speaking points. And we're going to like dive into these superficially because we only have an hour, unfortunately, with me today. And we'll tap into all that information, and we'll kind of we'll start to unpack it. So that's my advice to you. Live your best life ever. Honor yourself. Be compassionate to yourself, and you know, look at how little things you can do in life to honor your best life. Okay? So that's my theme here today. Now,
I think I would just add something to that. I recently learned of a concept called the human giver. And especially as women, often men too, we become the human giver and we forget that we're a human being.
yes.
It's not my term. It comes from a book, I think, called, it's from psychology, and it's called Burnout, 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 Burnout. 4 burnouts. But they do talk about the human giver. And when I heard the term, I thought, oh, that's me. Yeah, I'm a human giver. And then when they said, yeah, but you need to be a human being. And if you keep giving and giving, what is going to be left in your tank to give at the end for your dependents, for your loved ones, for your friends? You need to keep filling your tank. And you need to remember you are firstly a human being, and service yourself first as a human being, so that you can go on and be a great human giver as well.
For sure. And it's interesting on that point. My next slide here talks about the women's disease. So if you're always a giver, you know, and not being in that being state, you know, you're going to start to create disease states, right? So, you know, what are the common women's disease? And this is a quick list. I mean, these are the top 20 that I see in practice. Hormonal imbalance, number 1. But the reason you have a hormonal imbalance is because of stress. Stress creates a hormone imbalance. Chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue. There's a lot of adrenal stuff that's going on with a lot of people. Over time, chronic stress creates adrenal. Depression, anxiety, we're going to talk a little bit about that because it seems to be a bit of a theme that's kind of cropped up. Mental health, autoimmune, hypothyroidism. You know, these are conditions that women will be dealing with. Again, if you looked at the top 10 that the top kind of 2, 4, 6, 7 that I mentioned, there's a stress element there. And if you can address your stress element, then that is huge. The rest of them, again, follow that same pattern. And then there's a component of the women's disease list that looks at, you know, deficiencies. A lot of time we don't take care of ourselves. And by not taking care of ourselves, we're in a deficient state, and other conditions will happen, like osteoporosis. You know, like, you know, if you're not consuming your vegetables, your calcium, your minerals, and you have poor absorption in your gut, then osteoporosis becomes a reality, and an acidic body. So there's a lot of components, and I could dive into each one of these topics on its own and expand it. But, you know, our time is limited today, and I really want to get to more of the broader topics. This is what I call the disease evolution. And there are a lot of components that are connected to disease. At the top of the stairs, you're at your epitome of your health. This could be when you're a young child. This could be when you're a little older, but this is like when your health is like ideal. And then little things begin to happen. So as you go down the steps, things start to kind of evolve. So restoration of function and hereditary miasm. So what you want to do is, some of us might have, the functions of our body have been injured or lost. So all of a sudden health drops a bit. Your genetic sequence, which we know is a small portion, not a big portion of your expression of disease, happens also. Then we also have the epigenetic component, which is how your genetics influence and interact with your environment. So we know that genes don't change, but when you put environment and genes together, it's the epigenetic kind of situation where all of a sudden you can create a disease. So little things start to chip away at our health. Emotional, mental, spiritual stress. Hormonal stress then begins after stress kind of takes over your body. Structural stress then expresses itself as you go through the disease state. As this happens, because many of us will start to develop stress and anxiety from a young age as we kind of integrate information, then the next component is the environment and its toxicity, the environmental toxicity, the chemical toxicity, and the nutritional stress. Very early on in age, our adult parents probably miss out on some type of nutritional support that is ideal for the body. And you're missing calcium and maybe some minerals, and you're eating more sugar-based foods. And all of a sudden, this environmental and nutritional stress brings you down to the next level. So as you can see, disease is a series of unfortunate events that begin in your life that eventually culminate to cancer. Cancer is like the end stage. There's this German disease chart called the disease evolution state, and healthy and cancer are the two extremes. Now, where do you belong in that spectrum? And at some point, when all of these kind of come together and you create a perfect storm of disease, then the cells become abnormal and start to exhibit themselves in a degenerative cancer state.
Yeah.
So a lot has to happen.
I would say, I've had a lot of time to think about, why I got breast cancer, starting at the age of probably even before I felt it. So maybe around 18 or 17, it was starting. I did go through my parents' separation. I did have this pressure I put on myself, which was sort of also societal, that I had to be the first one in my family to go to university. So it didn't matter if I lost sleep. I would be studying late. I think I had low nutrition. My mother, when she gave birth to me, she weighed less than when she was pre-pregnancy because
Wow.
she vomited the whole time. So, I think I started off with a compromised system, and things didn't really get much better. I have both a Caribbean and European diet, but a lot of it is like rice and potatoes, that's a lot of it. And I think, all these, the stress, the emotional stress, then the physical stress, the lack of nutrients, and you kind of add it all up. I didn't have family that had breast cancers, so it's not thought to be genetic for me. So for me, it happened really, really early. I just want to prevent everyone at every age from getting cancer. So thank you for bringing this all up.
Oh, for sure. And it's interesting. I used to have a mentor who used to say, disease is 99% stress. The 1% is the physical component. So it's like the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, and the is like that stress culminates to disease.
Right.
So our goal here is, how do we take each one of these steps and situations and reverse it or address it in like the littlest way and the simplest way. And that's what we're going to kind of tackle here today. So I want you to think about these 7 essentials of life. And these are always in the back of my mind when I think about my own health. And I really encourage you to like think about these things for you. And, you know, I'm not going to take credit for these. These are not things that I've created. I mean, you can Google the 7 Essentials of Life and you'll see different versions of it. But, you know, it makes me think about kind of like wellness and well-being. So the first one I always think about is, what are you eating? You know, what are you putting in your mouth? Is it plant and from the earth, and is it healthy, or is it processed? And if you do more plant and less processed, you're already moving towards good health. What are you breathing? Like breath work, breathing, meditation is all key in the 7 Essentials of Life. What are you drinking? And there's really only one universal drink that everybody should be drinking, and that's water. And you know, the next level up is tea, which is herbs in a water base, but that is key. And how much of it are you drinking? Are you exercising? Are you moving? You know, like, are you stretching? Are you doing yoga? Are you running? What are you doing to move? And during COVID, I think a lot of us didn't move enough. So what are you doing? What are you thinking? Why are you living? You always ask the question, why? And when are you having time to rest? So these are 7 things that are often in my mind, and you know, and you have to kind of like review them as you go through, right? So just a little food for thought. So our objective today is simple: foundational wisdom. I want to make sure that when you leave today, we're going to talk about some very basic foundational stuff. Easy, practical tips. So do's. Today you can take my list and do. And I know this will be available to all of you. I'm here to share it. You're welcome to the presentation. I'm going to pass it off to the marketing team at CanPrev, and all of you who've been here on today will eventually get the presentation. So, you know, take your notes, but we'll be happy to give it to you at the end. Awesome. And finally, you know, the life-changing kind of strategies that I hope to instill in you as we move forward. So hopefully this kind of sums up like our objective today. And let's dive into eat, sleep, rest, repeat. Let's go. So let's start talking about eat. Woo, this looks amazing. Okay, in the Zoom chat, what do you think of when you see this avocado? I love avocado, by the way. And you know, avocado's food is medicine. Unbelievable. I see, oh, love it. Acid reflux. Okay, that's not right. Toast, healthy fat. Yes, good fat, delicious, healthy. Daily food for me feeling best. Love avocados. Delicious. Pudding. I agree.
Pudding. Someone said
great
pudding.
On your skin. Good. I woke you guys all up. Awesome. I did my job. You were all like ready to doze off and reaching for your coffee. You know what? Reach for a glass of water and let's have fun. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Okay. So yes, avocado. Food is medicine. We forget about that very often when we choose our food. So we need to start strategically picking the right foods for our health. So today, time out. I call these the Instagram famous diet. And if I put it up, everybody can talk about this. We're not going to talk about any of these. You know, Instagram can be very depressing at some point, but how many of you have opened up your Instagram and there's another intermittent fasting guy there, or there's a female talking about ketogenic diet and low carb and high paleo diet and low fat and clean eating. And you know what? When you look at all of this and you break down all of these, this is not, I see Mary Ross said daily, I see deep, like diet information. I know, Mary, sorry, I know you can't control it. Everybody wants to share their experiences. But the best, most researched diet, and it's confusing. Melissa says it's confusing. The best, most researched diet is only one diet. All over the world, all over the one diet. So I'm going to ask the team, the first person who says what I'm going to present right now is going to get a second grand prize. Mediterranean, Natalie Hennessy. Natalie, you're it. You get the prize. So Natalie gets a prize. Awesome. Can we make a note there? Natalie, in the little webinar chat, can you give us your email? Just put your email in there, and then we'll make sure our team does it. So Natalie Hennessy gets a prize. Maybe you can record that, Tanya. There she is, Nat Hennessy at Gmail. So Nat, you get it. You get the prize. Okay, so we're talking about Mediterranean diet. Why Mediterranean diet? I'm going to get into it. But let's step one step back. These are the key things for food as it being foundational. You need to have carbohydrates, good carbs, plant-based carbs, good fat, plant-based fat, good fiber, plant-based fiber. See the theme? Minerals from all sorts of areas. So if you're doing good carbs and good plant-based foods, your minerals are going to be high. Good protein, good sources of protein, vitamins, and down there, clean water. Clean water is key. So these are the foundational fundamentals. So you do this intuitively. Like when you're putting a meal together, you're putting good carbs in, good fats in. What about tomatoes? Tomatoes could be fibers, could be veggies. Like you're putting all these minerals, proteins, sweet potatoes, like all of these together, and you do it intuitively. But you know, when it comes to the most famous and best diet on the market, it is the Mediterranean diet. Time and time again, they've looked at it for heart disease, they looked at it for cancer, they've looked at it at many different studies. They probably have thousands and thousands of studies on just studying the Mediterranean diet. And we know it's a preventative diet. And we know it's a therapeutic diet. Many people with heart disease, if they shift to a Mediterranean diet, their cholesterol goes down, their blood sugar is balanced. So we know it's also a preventative diet. So, you know, Mediterranean diet is fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, fresh nuts, legumes, occasional grains. If you've been to Greece and you've been to the Mediterranean, occasional grains, fish, olive oil, lamb, and goat. So these are kind of the basics. You know, lamb, goat, fish, this is all game meat. This is all very organic meat. Now, if you want to translate this diet into North America, it's easy. The presence of the fresh vegetables in the supermarkets are unbelievable. I travel around the world. I go to many countries in my lifetime, and what I see in our supermarkets sometimes is unbelievable based on some other country. And I'm sure you could give me an example of other countries that have greater fruits, vegetables, and raw stuff. Like there shouldn't be an excuse for you not to eat fresh fruits and vegetables. And the types of things you want to avoid is processed food, packaged foods, potatoes. Now, potatoes, I'm looking more white potatoes, but more of the colored potatoes, like sweet potatoes, you know, yams and so forth. They're actually pretty good. So you want to avoid that and avoid processed red meat. Like red meat on the market right now is highly processed and farmed. So you, like, I mean, if you get a small farmer who has 1 or 2 cows, who processes the meat in a healthy way, then ideal. So definitely, you know, try to keep red meat out and go more towards the game kind of meat, like lamb, goat, fish. If you don't like lamb and goat, there's other things like turkey and pheasants and stuff like that. So Mediterranean diet. Question.
When you talk about fresh greens, so I built a greenhouse with my family last year. Nice. But it's not winterized, so by November there's nothing left. So this year I was able to get a second-hand hydroponic growing stand. So I'm going to encourage everyone, you can get like really mini hydroponic growing stands. Mine is quite big because I've put it in my basement, and you get special lights, you know, make sure it's good quality stuff so you don't have any accidents. And you know, if you're even just cutting a little bit of fresh microgreens every day, that's like great enzymes. It's got great bacteria. Yeah, it's alive, so it couldn't get any fresher than that. So I want to encourage you, even if you just can get like a mini, or if you have a great window, you can grow stuff in winter by your window.
Oh, there's definitely ways. Another point I want to actually point out is you can do Mediterranean. I call it modified Mediterranean. Many of you are vegan, vegetarians, and you can actually do a wonderful Mediterranean style eating. Obviously, maybe not with the lamb and the meat, but you could do it with plant-based. So, you know, Mediterranean is very flexible when it comes to, you know, how you eat. I remember, so I'll give you an example. I actually did a pilgrimage in Greece, and I went to Mount Athos. If many of you know about this, it's like, this is a very unique pilgrimage. And on the island, or on the tip of this region, they don't have any meat. There's no meat there. So and they're Mediterranean. So every day is a Mediterranean, tomatoes, cucumbers, olives. This is kind of what these people eat, and they live till 100. So there are ways that you can do it to like be healthy and also honor, not necessarily doing meat. And so I wrote up there modified Mediterranean on the next slide, plant-based diet. Another thing that I really encourage, and we can have a debate on this on another time, and I'm not here to debate, is eating organic. I truly believe in organic, whether it's, Tanya, you growing your vegetables at home in an organic way, or actually going out and purchasing organic. I actually think the stuff you eat more frequent, try to gravitate to more organic foods. So definitely, I believe in like pesticides and herbicides and keeping them low and allowing your vegetables to grow naturally. So in this kind of modified Mediterranean kind of diet, what I'm showing you here is fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, fermented foods, legumes, pseudo grains like quinoa, maybe occasional, probiotics, ginger, herbal teas. These kind of things are ideal for it. Try to avoid your wheat, your dairies, your sugars, your caffeines, your alcohol, your nicotine, your aspartame, your MSG. This is all like man-made processed stuff, and it doesn't move you in a good direction. The big debate probably, and I could start it easy here, but I won't, is coffee. Should you drink coffee or not? And the right answer is coffee stresses your liver, stresses your kidneys, stresses your adrenals. If you do a cup, just keep it simple. If you don't do coffee, it's actually better. Stick to teas. So that's all I'm going to say. If you can reduce your caffeine intake, it's ideal. It'll help your nervous system, your adrenals, your brain, everything. So instead of caffeine, maybe you flip over to herbal teas and vegetable juice. And I recommend, juicing vegetables, not fruits as juice, not like orange juice. I'm talking about kale, cucumber, spinach, a little bit of, green apple just to give it some flavor, and then you go. So juicing 30 ounces per day is an ideal way to keep your body clean. And again, down at the bottom, I said, if you have to, a clean source of fish. Clean fish is an oxymoron. It'd be tough to find clean fish on our planet. It's all our fault. I see Carrie, she says, mushroom coffee for sure. Again, reduce it and don't drink it as often, and maybe keep it as a treat for yourself. So the perfect wellness diet is this modified Mediterranean diet. So look at what you're doing and assess it and see how you can sneak in more of this. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Let's approach this with compassion and say, hey, you know what? Every day for lunch, I'm going to do a salad. So maybe for you, every day was a burger. Now it's a salad. So keep your breakfast the same, shift your lunch, keep your dinner the same. Do this for about a week. Then maybe change your breakfast and your lunch, keep your dinner the same. And then 3 weeks later, change your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're like me, Monday morning, I want to change, it all gets changed. So you just have to decide what type of person you are and how you're going to approach your diet and your diet modification. Here I wrote.
I think I'll just interject and say that when I first found out I had cancer, I said, that's it, I'm going vegan. And yes, I was vegan for a week.
Yeah.
Doing a crash change doesn't work for me, and I can't do crash changes. So yes, I've increased all of my organic foods and I grow so much of it now, but if you're like me, it's got to be baby steps, One thing I started doing this spring during COVID is drinking 2 to 3 glasses of water immediately when I start waking up. That was just one change that one of our staff nutritionists, she does it. She looks amazing. Barb, you look amazing. So yeah, that was just one change I made during COVID, and I feel cleaner. I feel fresher. I feel more hydrated, and then I don't have to drink as much before bed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, this is a liter. I'll finish a liter in my first hour of waking up, and then I pace myself after that. So I can do 3 of these in a day. So that's what you do. You kind of like start your day somehow and go with it. So this slide's about alkaline and acidity. All I did was, on the left side, you've got your water, your greens, your fruit, your veg, your sprouts, rice, millet, nut seeds, and hibiscus. Herbs, sorry, that should say herbs. That was cut off, sorry about that. So this all makes you alkaline. The stuff on the other side makes you acidic. So the hydrogenated fats, fine foods, refined flours, red meats, sweets, those kind of things will make you more acidic. You want to move towards the alkaline. How do you test it? It's super simple. Midday urine sample with a dipstick and look at your acidity. Midday is a good example because in the morning your pH is going to be high because you're dumping toxins. You start drinking, start eating, and all of a sudden your pH will get to that point. So midday, if you have a 5, you're very acidic. If it's a 7, you're alkaline. So you want to move towards a 7 alkaline kind of base. That's just a small little anecdotal kind of discussion on acid base. But like I said, I could just talk on this topic for a full hour. That was only like 30 seconds.
Oh, I'll just do a quick plug. We have a product called pH Pro that includes a little packet of pH strips. There's quite a few in there, and you can do a PP insert during the PP if you like.
That's exactly what you do. So that'll test your pH. That's all you need, some litmus paper, and so that mineral formulation alkalinizes you because it's minerals that change your acidity if you don't know that already. Sugar is your enemy. Sugars is your enemy. They will make you acidic. Okay, quick in the chat roll. How many are looking at it going, that's the last time I'm looking at sugar. It's never going to happen again. And then some of you are going to be like, no, I'm going to leave that in there. In the chat, quickly. Who's the craving? Okay, there you go. Some honest people. Never. Oh my God. Chocolate. Keep sugar. No. Yes. Okay, everyone, we're having fun. Sugar is not your answer. We know from study after study, increased sugar, high levels of sugar on a daily basis will increase your cardiovascular disease, risk of inflammation to your gut, to your joints, changes your pH, ups your risk of diabetes, PCOS, TMS, and the list goes on and on. As I say that, I'm a downer. Everybody's chat just stopped. I feel bad, sorry. Oh, there it is. Colleen's like, no, I'll still go for chocolate. Okay, so sugar's not your answer. Get sugar out of there, reduce it. I mean, ideally, if you could reduce it, it'll just make you better. Dark chocolate is an option because it's not necessarily sugar, right? Excellent. Okay, so I want Tanya to kind of roll in here. Vitamins for vitality. What you need for being vital. B complex, D3, magnesium, bisglycinate, greens, fiber. So just off the top of your head, out of your favorites out of this, which CanPrev product, which is your favorite?
Well, definitely magnesium. We are known for our magnesium as well as many other things. It really does help me sleep better at night, and I have less stiffness. I do a lot of physical workouts, and it just helps all those muscles to relax more. And I feel like I'm doing something good for my heart because women get heart attacks as well, you know? So magnesium is great for all of that. But I know if I talk to naturopathic doctors, they always say, B complex. Here, this is our, we have one called Synergy B. It's a very beloved product with naturopathic doctors. I don't take my B complex in the night. I don't know if others find that, but
it wires you up.
It energizes me a bit, but it definitely adds another layer to even your cognitive, you know, you're sharper, you're more awake. And then it helps, of course, deal with stress, and then you get a deeper sleep at night. So definitely, B complex.
And it's interesting, I just quickly watched the chat go by. Overwhelmingly, everybody agreed with you. It's magnesium. I want to do one clarification because it did come up in the chat. Someone asked me, what's bisglycinate green? Actually, that's an error. I apologize. It should be magnesium bisglycinate. And then the line should be green. So I hope I set that up for you guys. I apologize. It should be magnesium bisglycinate. And yes, CanPrev does a lot of magnesium. We are known for that. Okay, that's diet. So you see that really quick. Best diet, here's some supplements, go. So let's move into sleep now. So sleep is underrated. What I find with sleep is many of us don't appreciate. So there's two things. I always say, in my practice, I would say you need to quantify your sleep and you need to qualify your sleep. So quantify meaning how much sleep are you getting? And then the second thing is, what is the quality of your sleep that you're getting? So sleep is huge, underrated. People don't do enough of it. They're going to bed at midnight, you know, on their phone, activating their brain, and then they're like, oh, I can't sleep. And, you know, then they're eating a lot of caffeine and sugar at night, and then they're expecting to go to bed. They don't go to bed, then they wake up, and then they break. The cycle is hard to break. So this is something you got to get a hold of, and we'll talk a little bit about what I do. So Dr. Michael Rosen said sleep is the most underrated health habit that we as humans have, and I totally agree. People just don't sleep enough. That maybe the conditions in their bedroom are not good. Maybe they're not getting enough hours, not getting to sleep early. So my day starts at 5 a.m. I can't go to bed at midnight and wake up at 5 a.m. That'd be just a disaster. So my sleep time is like 9:30 for me to have a 5 a.m. lifestyle. So, and I call it the 5 a.m. club. So there aren't many of us, but we're out there. If you're a 5 a.m.er, write it in the chat box, as I'd appreciate it. So getting your good sleep. Duke University found that poor sleep is associated with higher stress levels and greater risks of heart disease and diabetes, okay? So, you know, I hope you 5 a.m.ers, you guys all said 5 a.m. Leanne, Jen, Donna, Karen, you guys are all 5 a.m.ers. I hope you're getting good sleep. So you can't get to bed at midnight and then wake up at 5. It's going to be hard on your system. Your adrenals are going to go crashing at some point. So be good to your adrenals. A 2013 University of Rochester study on mice showed that during sleep, the brain clears out our most harmful waste proteins that build up between the cells. These are the toxins that increase your risk of Alzheimer's. So you see, sleep restores your body. And remember how I told you when you want to take your pH? You want to take your pH mid-afternoon, because a good sleep will dump a whole bunch of toxins out. Your urine and your pH of your urine should be acidic. And then as your day goes on and you drink water, you eat your veggies, you should become more alkaline. That acidity in the morning means you've dumped all these toxins out of your brain. So it's important to really look at how your sleep is affecting you. I used to be a shift worker. Shift workers are hard. I noticed Mary Rose, you said shift work at the hospital. That's a tough one. We might have to have a conversation one day, you and I, to answer your question. The role of sleep deprivation. So when we have sleep deprivation, we lose our mood, our ability to focus, our ability to access higher creativity, higher thinking. You're probably not doing your job effectively, and it affects your mental performance. You can't find that information. What it also affects is your creativity. You want to be creative. You want to be you want to have ingenuity. You want to have confidence, leadership, decision making, and confidence. So these are the things that you will gain with better sleep. Okay, you will gain with better sleep when you improve it. So let me say one thing here with sleep. So I like to use devices to sleep, and I don't have any affiliation to this. This is just a device I've used kind of for the last year, and I really enjoy it. So this is a little tidbit. So there on my phone, there's a thing called the sleep cycle. It's just, so I have a Mac. So on an iPhone, it's for free. I've paid for the upper version. It's only like 20 bucks. I think it's 39 bucks to own the rights to it. But basically, it measures your sleep with sound. So I turn off my Wi-Fi. I put it on airplane mode. I hit sleep cycle, I put it beside my bed, and it actually takes the sound waves from me and measures the quality of my sleep. Okay, I'll tell you today I had, I'm gonna look at my data, so it goes into statistics. So today I slept 87% sleep. 9 minutes, in the 9 minutes I fell asleep. I went to bed at 9 a.m. I woke up at 9 p.m. I woke up at 5 a.m. I had 6 minutes of snoring, and yesterday I did 14,000 steps. So it's a cool app, really cheap, and it's not Bluetooth. Okay, so something to measure the quality and quantity of your sleep. Start working on that sleep. That took me almost 6 months to perfect my sleep. And yes, Jen, I have an Apple Watch too. I also have software for this, but I like using that the most. When I wear this, you're using Bluetooth, okay? So measure your sleep. That's it. Any questions?
I guess
okay.
I would say that I'm not into all those fancy gadgets. I'm really non-techie. So I kind of go by my energy and how I feel, but I have told people all along that I do think after water, your next #1 supplement is your sleep. Most definitely.
For sure.
Like, focus on it.
But I think for you, Tanya, like, I mean, you're in a great place where you don't have EMF. You're up in a country. You're walking on grass. You're walking on soil. You're connecting with nature. So I bet your sleep is like pretty good. But
it definitely improved when I moved to the country.
For sure. And I sleep well when I moved to the country. So a lot of people like to have like some data. Like we're becoming a data-driven society. And some people like those little things, and it helps them, right? It just quantifies it. Unless you go to a sleep study and they put all those probes, and one night is not a good measure of your sleep, right? Okay, so let's move into rest. Rest is the adrenal gland. So address your stress. So it's important for us to make sure our stress and our anxiety is under control. Now, this is not medical advice. If your anxiety is really out of control, you need to kind of visit with a naturopathic doctor, visit your medical doctor, and kind of deal with them on that level, because there's many causes of stress. It could be a hormone imbalance. It could be adrenal fatigue. It could be lack of minerals. It could be GABA conversion in your brain. It could be neurotransmitters. It could be, and the list goes on and on. So sit down with your naturopath and medical doctor and figure out what's causing you. And sometimes it's just the emotional stuff and the spiritual stuff we're going through in life. So so this slide ended up in the wrong place. This is nutrients for sleep. So magnesium is good for sleep. L-theanine is good for sleep. 5-HTP, and I like the teas. A bunch of teas that will help with your sleep. Probably my two favorite are the first two, magnesium and L-theanine. And I know, Tanya, we got some great stuff for that.
Yeah, I guess as women, we've all been pretty excited about the new CanPrev product called Adrenal Chill. And yeah. I was feeling a little bit nervous before this evening. So I got out my Adrenal Chill, I opened it up, took 2 capsules out, and so that it would just kind of calm my nerves faster, I actually opened 1 capsule and sprinkled it in under my tongue. And so I thought that might go into my bloodstream faster. I don't know if it does. And then I swallowed the other capsule, and it didn't taste bad at all.
That's
and I
awesome.
feel good.
Yeah,
I do feel a lot calmer.
Like it just chilled you out, and it does, right? Like the L-theanine gives you that feeling you get when you listen to like classical music. Magnesium is a muscle relaxant. Magnesium also is a nerve binder. It helps your nerves relax. So definitely, the ashwagandha, amazing as a chill formulation. So it's a great formulation. I also like at night. I don't drink a lot because you don't want to wake up and pee and disturb your sleep. But I also enjoy a little bit of chamomile, lemon balm, lavender as a nebulizer. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually, complement your sleep and use them all. Like help yourself get that good rest, right? So let's move on here. Some sleep experts. So these are some advice, you know, over the years, you know, I've gone to seminars and listened to webinars, and, you know, some of the things that have helped people kind of get their sleep. Get a new pillow, make your bedroom darker and keep it cool. Practice deep breathing. Oh my God. Like, I've been meditating for almost 18 years. Get into a meditative practice. All of the top people in the world are doing it. It's not just the yogi in some small village in India that does deep breathing. Everybody should start practicing that. A warm bath before you go to bed, add in some Epsom salts. Exercise and a good walk will always give you a good sleep. You know, exhaust your physical body. Get rid of the laptop, the tablet, the phone, and TV before you go to bed. Dim it all down. You know, these glasses have blue blockers. So some of you, you know, you have dove into blue blocker technology where, you know, all of these lights that are on, I've got 2 lights in front of me, I got my computer on, you know, it just dims the lights so your nervous system isn't overwhelmed. Cut down on coffee after 2 p.m. Don't do that 2 p.m., 5 p.m. coffee drink. And sleep apps, like I said before, smartphone, Apple Watch, Fitbits if you use it. There are a lot of meditation apps. So Chantel Chan suggests, what meditation apps do you suggest? There's a lot of them out there. One of my favorites, and it's on my thing, is the Muse. I'm writing it in. The Muse Med. It's a device and an app, and it gamifies sleep. So Google Muse medical device app, and it's a meditation app. It goes across here and measures your brainwaves. So I like to use that. And there's also the Calm Radio, and there's other things out there. So those are my 2 favorites. So adrenal. So quick crash course on adrenals, because this is not an adrenal talk. So adrenals are located over your kidneys.
And we do have like 3 minutes or so before questions, maybe.
Yeah, we'll go through. So your adrenal glands, they produce your adrenaline and help you address stress. And a lot of us have these exhausted adrenal glands. And this is a list of some of the stressors that beat up the adrenals. Trauma, accident, surgery, caffeine beats up adrenals, alcohol, junk food, environmental, heavy metals, molds, hormones, mental, worrying, fear, anxiety, and overeating, undereating can also create stressors to the adrenals. So symptoms of adrenal fatigue, this is a quick list. Again, I'm going to send this out to you guys. Difficult waking, fatigue with sleep, craving your salts, craving your sugars, lightheaded, lack of energy. So these are symptoms you would get if you're experiencing adrenal fatigue. And again, visit your medical doctor to kind of go through all of this. This again is just the symptoms you experience with adrenal fatigue. And I'm going to skip this slide, and we're going to go to your DIY adrenal repair. So talk therapy, energy therapy. Avoid your caffeine, sugar, alcohol. Junk food, get it out of there. Visit a naturopath, start taking your metals out, your molds out, your hormones out. Look at how you process your fear, your anger, your friends, and eat clean. We talked about how we can get you started on eating clean. It is critical for you. Some of the supplements for your soul, for your adrenal glands, and you have to make sure is, you want to make sure you're taking your B vitamin, you want to make sure you're taking your C vitamin, you want to make sure you're on your magnesium, and an adrenal herbal formulation, which is available in the line. Repeat. So health habits for health begin with habits for success. So any type of health habit you have, and the definition of a habit is doing it daily or doing it over and over again at a scheduled time. That's a habit. So what you want to do is you want to schedule this or put this in your plan to do it daily. If you're not doing it daily, then it's not a habit. So physical habits, like put in a good stretching practice, put in a good yoga practice. Let's walk, let's run, let's swim. So do physical stuff. And I also believe in taking care of your skin and going to a spa. And these are all physical habits that you should be responsible for. Okay? Second is prayer, philosophy, you know, spiritual habits, conversations, reading, singing, poetry, drawing, gratitude. These are key for, you know, put them into your daily habit to help with your spiritual and your mental habits. And finally, this is before we say thank you to you, is gratitude. Gratitude is saying thank you. And gratitude is shown to be very transformative. A 2003 study by McCullough and Emmons found that keeping a daily gratitude journal leads to better sleep, reduction of physical pain, greater sense of well-being, and able to handle all of your challenges. So you got to be grateful for the things you have. And when you're in your brain, when you think gratitude, you don't think negative. So start thinking more gratitude and you'll push out all that negative stuff. So we're going to say thank you. And we're going to answer some of your questions. I think we have some time. Tanya, do we have time for a few questions? I saw some.
I know some people want to stay on, but for those of you who have to go, yes, it's great to end on the note of gratitude because Dr. Elias Markou, you put your heart into this evening, and even from the comments who are saying they're so grateful and they want to continue, it shows that, you know, we really do appreciate your time, your effort, and that you actually care. You care about your fellow Canadians. You can find Dr. Markou at Pure Balance Wellness. And I just want to give out one more shout out and thanks to Camiso's Fresh Foods in Niagara. Apparently they have up to 20% off of CanPrev products until September 24th. So you might want to get in there. And Camiso's, that's with 2 M's and 3 S's. They also seem to have an online store, I heard too. So you might want to check them out. But they do actually deliver. There's curbside pickup and delivery, and that is offered in the Niagara region from St. Catharines to Fort Erie. And do follow us, CanPrev, on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. And now I guess we'll take the questions.
Yeah, let's do some Q&A. Those who have to go, I totally understand. You know, we were here for an hour. And if you have to go, then, you know, it doesn't offend us. Thank you for joining us and having fun with us. Those who are going to stay, we'll probably get a little bit more information. I'm going to try to answer some of the questions, and we'll see how the chat goes. And I don't want to. I'm going to leave it for about 15 minutes, and then we'll go from there and see kind of how we're doing. So
yeah, I took note of a few questions, but I didn't get all of them. The first one that I think is easy for me to answer is someone was asking how they could find a naturopath in their area. So if you go on to the website CAND, Canadian Association of Naturopathic Doctors, you can find one there, and usually there's an association for each province. So the Alberta Association of Naturopathic Doctors and so on. So definitely find yourself a naturopathic doctor if you don't have one.
Yeah, so you can, if you're in Ontario, it's the oand.org. If you go there, up at the top corner of the website, you just put your city, and all of the NDs in your area will show up. So yeah, let's dive into some of these questions. Is this being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. I know the marketing team is going to do something with this information. And we will have the slide deck available for you. If I don't know how they're going to disseminate it, if you just get an email from us, but we're going to get it to you, I promise you. Second, this question is from Cindy. Cindy's like, how does premenopausal affect insomnia, especially from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. and weight gain? I understand that hormones are up and down as well. What can I do for diet? I've got the exercise part down pat. So Cindy, what I think you got to do is you got to visit your naturopath and run a hormone kit, whether it's the saliva or urine. Let them determine what hormones are off. Usually the 3 to 5 a.m. is a deficiency in progesterone, so they'll probably do a cream or herb to try to fix your hormones. A plant-based diet for you would be ideal. Okay, so a plant-based diet with you would be ideal. So I've answered that for you. Hopefully that gives you the question. Beverly, you're there. I've tried 3 different diets since January, but can't seem to lose weight. I need to lose 40 pounds. I've turned 50. What diet supplements do you recommend? Okay, that's a tough one, Beverly. You need to be assessed. You should make some time with a naturopathic doctor. A lot of the time, a hormone imbalance can do that. But I'm a believer in mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. So you can do all the right physical things. If your mind and your spirit is not addressing its concern, then you're going to have issues with losing weight, because I do believe there's an energy component connected to weight loss. And it's also often a sub issue that come with you from childhood or whatever. So you got to do the physical, which is the diet and the supplements. So get assessed properly and see how you're doing. The perfect diet can be anything. I mean, I have women who do paleo and feel absolutely lousy. So like for me to tell you, oh, do paleo, do intermittent fasting, won't be ideal. So get assessed with a naturopathic doctor, see where your hormones are, neurotransmitters, serotonin is responsible for weight loss. So see where your neurotransmitters are, check your blood work, check your thyroid, balance your thyroid, and go from there. Hopefully that answers your question. I wish I could be more detailed. I want to get through a lot of this stuff. Janet, I have a 22-year-old daughter with a compromised immune system and family members who have had cancer. What would you suggest to help her? A compromised immune system? So there is, let me just put this in, I don't want to turn it off. So there is there's a couple of tests that we run, and you're going to start hearing testing, right? Because I don't make assumptions. My thing I say is, test, don't guess. So a lot of doctors will guess, and they give you this, they give you that, and they give you this, and I think at the end of the day, you're not getting what you need. So what you want to do is you want to get tested. So in this situation, I would actually look at her gut, and there's a gut test called GI Maps. That's what I would do with her, and start from there. See a naturopath, and they will help you out as you move on. So yeah, I answered that for you.
Someone asked about restless legs, and that is usually very easily helped with magnesium. It's linked to a magnesium deficiency. I don't really get restless legs myself, but I have had sort of a muscle cramp that just kind of seizes your muscle. Especially I had that in my last 2 pregnancies. It's almost like my magnesium was going down with each pregnancy. And luckily we had CanPrev with my last 2 pregnancies. So with baby 3 and baby 4, I took my magnesium, and it was, I took away all the cramps, and that'll help with restless legs. And we hear that all the time. So you just have to find the right magnesium for you. If you're sensitive, if you tend to get loose stool from magnesium, then we have an extra gentle and an ultra gentle one. But our most popular magnesium is magnesium bisglycinate. I don't know if you can see it, 200 milligrams. That's our most popular one. And again, if you want it to work super fast, open the capsule, and it's like a sweet treat, sugar-free.
Yeah, for sure. That's good advice. And there's research actually that says that magnesium is good for restless legs. There's a lot of research that shows that. So it's not anecdotal. I'm going to answer Janet's question. Sorry. We answered Janet's question. Lorianne. So Lorianne asked me, is Greek yogurt allowed under the Mediterranean diet? So what I do with our patients, you could start off with the Mediterranean diet, but I actually encourage you to do food sensitivity testing for your specific self to really fine tune what is best in the Mediterranean diet. So what I would do is I would be like, okay, this is what I would test. It's called an IgG test. Get it done, and whatever comes up on the list, take it out of the diet and then continue with everything else in it. Hopefully I answered that question for you. So some people can do yogurt, some people might not be able to do yogurt. Maybe you can help me out with this one, Tanya. Anti-inflam and pain products in the CanPrev line.
Oh yeah. I deal with a neck injury from weightlifting. Oh, there. I deal with a neck injury from weightlifting many, many years ago. And my go-to for neck pain is called Pain Pro formula. It's one of our original lineup, and I still take it 15 years later. It's best on an empty stomach because a very significant ingredient in it called bromelain from pineapples, it's digestive. So if you take it with your food, it will be effective, but it'll be a little less effective. So if you can take it on an empty stomach, I take 2 or 3 at a time. One time I had a really bad back spasm, so I was definitely taking the 3 at a time for that. And it's some people say it's tantamount to prescription painkillers, and I'm not one for muscle relaxers. I go like a zombie if I take muscle relaxers. So definitely take your Pain Pro. I keep it in my purse. And so sometimes you meet someone who's just in pain for some reason. I'm like, here, take this.
Try it.
Try the Pain Pro.
That's awesome. Beverly's question is, I take anxiety medication, Cipralex. Is it okay to take supplements? In that situation, Beverly, excuse me, I would suggest you get assessed. There are contraindications between Cipralex and some of the ingredients in a stress and anxiety formulation. So you need to see a naturopathic doctor to get that done. Hopefully that answers your question. Binder, I have restless legs. So we answered that. Okay, let's move on. What is the name of the sleep app again? Donna Gilbert, the sleep app is called Sleep Cycle. And if you go to the App Store, type in Sleep Cycle and you'll find it. Hope that helps you out. Yeah. Sleep Cycle, is it free? Yes, you could do a free version of it. But then if you want like to keep the data and go back to answer it, to look at it, then pay for the version. I think the version is like $39.99 and it's for life. And obviously you'll probably, apps are apps, probably in a year, they'll probably get you to buy the next one up, which has got new stuff, but you can get away with the first one. How do you handle sleep for shift workers? So Clara, and maybe this is where I can get you to help me out too, Tanya. Shift workers, I put every shift worker on a melatonin. So do we have a melatonin in CanPrev?
Yeah, we have, it's called Magnesium Sleep.
There you go.
With 2 main ingredients. It's additional to magnesium. It's GABA and melatonin. And so people just, when they start this and they start to see improvements in their sleep, they're like, I don't want to do without it. Yeah. But hopefully, you won't always have sleep issues in life. But Magnesium Sleep, it's quite a popular product from CanPrev. So adding that melatonin, like I have a neighbor here, a young woman, and she did a sleep test and she was waking up 400 times a night. So I got her onto magnesium and she was taking the 200 milligrams a night, and then she did the 400 milligrams a night. And she said, yeah, my sleep's better. But it wasn't until she got onto the melatonin with the magnesium that it made all the difference. And within 3 weeks, she called me up and she said, I've awakened 2 mornings now in a row before my alarm, and I'm so refreshed. So she's doing that, but she's also taking the Adrenal Pro formula. So it takes some work and it takes some time, but it can be for you. It might be for you.
Yeah, so melatonin is interesting. So I'll tell you, I was a shift worker. So Clara, I know what it's all about. I was a shift worker for 7 years as a firefighter. I put all my shift workers on a melatonin, magnesium, pretty much for life, because you're a shift worker. Unless you change your job, you need to be on it. So sometimes melatonin for some people, you have to kind of get used to it because it'll give you funky dreams. So you'll have vivid, crazy, really, bizarre dreams for about 7 days, and people feel uncomfortable about that, but work through that and then just get into it. Sometimes, you need to do more than a milligram. You need to get up to 10 and 20 milligrams, but you have to talk to your healthcare provider. So you might need to be on something. I definitely say sit down with someone who's an expert and help you assess your sleep, and hopefully that gets you better sleep. Two quick things. I used to black out my blinds. Like you have to put up tin foil to cover up the light coming in, and you have to soundproof your room. Those are other more anecdotal things that you have to do for your sleep. Hopefully that helps you out. Amy Fisher, thank you, Amy. She thanked us for sharing our gratitude and our expertise. Thank you. Hopefully you're on and you say hello to us. Food intolerance. Yes.
And, okay, just before I forget, sorry, we got one question earlier about do we carry quercetin? So we do have a fair bit of quercetin in different CanPrev products, especially our Healthy Lungs product. But we are coming out with a single ingredient of quercetin, and it's going to be very powerful and very clean. So look for that soon. Sorry, go ahead about the IgG, I think you said?
Yeah, so we were going to go into IG. I'm just answering a quick question here while you were going. You can do melatonin every night. Yes, you can. You can do melatonin every night. That's how I knock my kids out. Small dose, I promise you. It's illegal. Can you do food intolerance? Can food intolerances exhaust your adrenals? 100% yes. Caroline, determine which food intolerances you have, take them out, and it'll ease off the pressure off your adrenals. That's true, 100%. What are you recommending for staying asleep? Well, that's a tough one. You need to get assessed, Victoria. You need to look at your hormones. You need to look at your neurotransmitters. You need to do a full assessment on your body. Something that's a hormonal issue, something that's just overthinking. There are some herbs like lemon balm and chamomile that can knock you out. Like if you're waking up between 2 to 4 a.m., then to me that is telling me there's a underlying stress issue. So you got to figure out what that is, start addressing that, and sometimes that corrects it. And from a Chinese medicine perspective, 2 to 4 a.m. is liver. So there might be something going on with your liver, Victoria, so you might have to get that checked out. Medical doctors running a liver enzyme won't determine that. Go to a good naturopath in your area and they'll help you out. What supplements do you recommend for depression, anxiety, and tinnitus? Susan, that's a tough one. I'd love to answer that. I mean, I'll give you just a rundown of just ingredients. If you're not on medication, it could be 5-HTP, melatonin, magnesium. It could be, progesterone cream. It could be vitamin D deficiency, so up your vitamin D. For tinnitus, zinc is a big one that I use to help with tinnitus. So hopefully those are a couple of answers for you that might get you on your way. What is your opinion regarding cannabis for sleep? So this is coming from Anonymous. It helps some people, it doesn't help some people. In order to get cannabis, you got to go to a medically certified medical doctor who prescribes it, and they're going to start there. I'm not a cannabis expert. I can tell you, and my patients who do it through a medical doctor prescription, they like it. They do well with it. So hopefully that answers your question, Anonymous. I don't know. That answer might have drove down deep into the dark web. Go ahead, Tanya.
Somebody asked, what is adrenal chill made of? So
Go ahead.
I believe the most popular supplement in the world is the ashwagandha root, and that's what it's from. But we extract it, and the extract that we use is called KSM 66, and it's a very potent part that we're extracting. So it is the world's greatest, most loved supplement, it seems, and now we've made it even better.
Awesome. Good. I like it. Amy Fisher, eustachian tube plugged. You're using the neti pot. You might have to go to a chiropractor or an osteopath. You might have, you might be locked in your lower, like in the atlas of your skull. You might be locked, your muscles might be locked, and they're not allowing you to drain. So you might have to do that. Or you might have eustachian tubes that are more flat, not gravity driven. So that you're gonna have to get assessed. Go to a ear, nose, and throat specialist, but a chiropractor, and an osteopath in that visit list. Kathleen, how can we stay healthy during COVID? Well, you know what? Sorry, Kathleen. There's 5 things. So this is my spiel for COVID. There's 5 things that you got to do. You got to wear your mask. You wash your hands. You got to use hand sanitizer, and you got to social distance. Those are the things that you stay healthy during COVID. But if we're talking about supporting your immune system, there's a lot of research on a lot of stuff from vitamin C to zinc. So that's all I'm going to say about that, Kathleen.
Yeah. Somebody asked if we're going to have some more of these webinars, and this is our second one. You can actually watch the first one if you go to canprevwomen.ca, and you go to take the quiz, and there's a quiz, and then there's a link to the first webinar. So if you want information about upcoming ones, go to canprevwomen.ca/subscribe. And oh, by the way, if any of you want to write to me directly some of your questions in future, you can reach me, Tanya@canprev.ca, or even better is Ask Tanya, Tanya, @canprev.ca, and then I won't miss your question.
That's awesome. And while we're on that note, you can get a hold of me. My handles are at Dr. Elias Markou on Instagram. Facebook is /Dr. Elias Markou. And go to my website, dreliasmarkou.com. Sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get a free how to detox in 24 hours. So hopefully that'll interest you, and you'll join me there. Okay. Which food sensitivities do I use? I use tests by US Biotics through Rocky Mountain. So it's an IgG test, but there's a lot of them on the market. Go to a naturopath, and they have their favorites, and I'm sure they're all perfectly fine. Brensha has a question. Her question is, I have a herniated disc, a lower lumbar. Do you think it will help with that? So I'm assuming you're asking me about the inflammation that we talked about, that Tanya talked about. It might. When we start taking care of our patients, we put them on a fish oil, an inflammation. We take out their food sensitivities. Tanya, go ahead.
Well, we do have, people are very scared of fish oil. I'm not sure if they were scarred when they were kids with something their mom gave them. So we do have fish oil both in capsules, and it is great for inflammation. I actually use it for my memory. Fish oil is great for memory, omega-3s. And we now have, I didn't bring it over tonight because it's in my fridge. We now have a liquid form, which is super potent, our Omega Pro fish oils. And it tastes so yummy. Even my kids say, yum, and they actually want more. So I'm not kidding you. Try the CanPrev liquid fish oils, Omega Pro it's called, and you won't be disappointed.
That's awesome. Yeah, like fish oil, you can't go wrong. And the way they make fish oils now, they actually take all that smelly fishy stuff out, and they make them yummy. Oh my God, like you can get them different flavors, lemon flavors. So they're different. I think fish oils are more modern and more delicious. Chris's question is it better to eat 3 meals a day or more frequent? Some people are grazers, some people are frequent eaters. Try it out yourself. If you do 3 meals, spread them out equally and make sure they're a good portion size, like a small. Don't overeat, and spread them out throughout your day. Latest time to eat in the evening, I would tell you, it would be between 5 and 6 o'clock, because I go to bed at 9. So I'm done at 6, and I have a small, I drink water and I have a small herbal tea before I go to bed, and I'm in bed at 9. If the later you stay, the more food you're going to have to eat. And that's what I've seen with patients. The later they stay, they start to snack, they start to reach for those things that your brain needs. So if you can avoid going to bed late, it's good for your adrenals. You'll actually do better with that. So Anonymous is asking me what amount of melatonin is safe. I take 10 milligrams sometimes. It depends. So it just depends on you and who you are. The best thing to do is have a professional assess you. I've seen research that goes from 1 milligram to 20 milligrams. So you just have someone safely take you through that process, okay? Michelle Stewart, I'm gonna look at my time, guys. I'm gonna go for another 2 minutes, and then we're going to say goodbye to everybody. We've answered almost 30 questions between me and Tanya. It was a great night. We had a lot of fun. I don't know, Tanya, if you wanna kind of jump in here and kind of add something here. Is there any pressing questions that you see we should really answer?
Well, this one person keeps writing the same question, so maybe we should answer it about tomato seeds. Are tomato seeds okay?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them. Are they toxic? No, they're not toxic at all. You can have tomato seeds. And you know, like, there are, in my mind, there aren't many seeds that are toxic and poisonous. Yeah, have them for sure, 100%.
Okay, my last story of the night. So I asked my neighbor who's a farmer to come over and to give me some organic farming tips. And she looked at my potato plants that were quite small, and she said, "You have potato bugs. You have, like, your leaves look like lace." She said, "Didn't you put sulfur in with this potato seed?" And I said, "No, what for?" And she said, "Well, the soil is so depleted of sulfur that it's sulfur that wards the bugs away naturally. And so that's why potato crops don't have, you know, the resilience against the bugs that they used to for grandma and grandpa in their farm days." So now I know, like, that's just one example of how our soils are depleted, that our poor potato crops are suffering. And then you wonder, okay, so no wonder they're adding pesticides, because they're just covered in bugs and eating down the health of the plant. So that's just a tiny anecdote on, you know, the state of our soils, and that's only one ingredient that we're talking about. So that's really the crux of it for me, why me, a cancer survivor, does feel that supplements are necessary. Not everyone feels that way, and you're entitled to that opinion, but it certainly has helped my health and my endurance. And I pray to God that I'll be safe for a long time, that you'll be able to prevent illness, all of you. Like our company name is CanPrev. CanPrev stands for Can Prevent. So I wish prevention for all of you, and great health, and have a wonderful evening. Thanks again, Elias. If you want to give the last word.
Yeah, one last word. In the chat, we got 2 minutes here. I want you guys all to answer this question. What one thing you will do for yourself after the webinar? One thing. Those of you who are on the chat, I think there's like 80 of you. Meditate, drink water, detox, Mediterranean diet, sleep. Awesome.
Awesome.
I think, Tanya, you and I, we did a great job tonight. I think everybody is very thankful. Listen, if you want to see us again, if you like to see this format, let's make your COVID exciting. Get on Facebook, on CanPrev's site, and just say, hey, let's see Dr. Markou, let's have Tanya come and do something. Like, we are looking for everything and any ideas possible to kind of get out there and help you guys, you know, be better, live a better life. Thank you, Tanya, for your time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Elias. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Everyone, thank you. Have a good night. Sleep.